Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I'm joined by Lucy McCarraher, who is the founder of Rethink Press and author of 13 books, no less, and also the UK's most experienced business writer mentor. Hi, Lucy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, Catherine. Thank you for inviting me.
I know for a lot of the businesses watching this, writing a book is just a whole thing that will take up even more of their time, and they're already busy and stressed. But what would you say are the benefits of writing a book?
Oh, there are some really important benefits of writing a book. Probably the first one is actually in the writing itself. It gives you amazing clarity about what you do and how you do it, and understanding your own knowledge and process, and what you take your customers or clients through. But also it just gives you incredible authority and influence, because nothing says expert like your name on the front of a book. It is the iconic format for saying, I am an expert, this is an expert. So it does that. And then your book, the way it's distributed, a book goes around the world telling people who you are, people you'd never have met before. If you were just going out and looking for people yourself. And then, of course, it is an absolutely brilliant sales tool. I mean, I always call it your undercover sales agent, because it's not a business card, it's not a marketing brochure, and it's not a sales pitch. It just has incredible value in it for your reader, but it introduces you to those people who read your book. You can tell your own story, or some of it. You can talk about people you've worked with, your case studies. You tell them how you learned to do what you do and why it's so important to do what you do. And that is an incredible way of getting people to come back to you and say, I want to work with you. So those are three reasons that you really should write your book.
You mentioned there some of the other kinds of collateral that people might think of as an alternative, perhaps, to writing a book, brochures and that kind of thing. What are the main differences, really? Obviously, length, I guess, but
well, yes, length and just pure value, because a book should never have anything overtly salesy in it. Your book is, it has a price tag, so people are going to pay for the pleasure of reading your book. So they don't want to be sold at in the book. They just want to know what you do and what you know and how you do it, and get lots of value from it. And that's the difference. And that's why I say that nothing sells you like a book, because it isn't one of those sales tools that everything else is. People don't expect to be sold a book. And also, you can chuck a business card in the bin, you can delete an email. Nobody is ever going to throw away a book. It will sit on their desk. It's a lovely thing to have. So it's always there, reminding them of you, and they'll pass it on, and maybe, refer someone to it or give it to somebody else. It's just a completely different sort of process, and a different kind of artifact, if you like.
In this world of digital technology, when we're doing video interviews like this and lots of digital content is being created, do books still matter? Do people still read?
They do. They don't necessarily read a physical book. Some people do. Lots of people do. But lots of people read a book on their phone, on a Kindle on their phone, or iPad or whatever. And lots of people listen to audiobooks. I mean, you can get through so much doing other things. So having a book out there, it's really important to have the physical printed book, because that's the thing that says authority. That's the thing that you can send out to people and say, this is a little piece of me you're getting. When we can't actually go out and meet people, sending your book as a physical object to people is like kind of giving them a piece of yourself. And but all the other formats are really important too, and it's all part of the same process. So whichever way people choose to imbibe your words, then it works. But I think it would be a big mistake not to go with a physical printed book, because that's the one that says, I am the expert.
What have you seen in the time that you've worked, in the 13 books that you've written, and the thousands and thousands of writers that you've mentored? What mistakes have you seen people make that you want to make sure no one else makes?
Oh, that's really interesting. So firstly, a lot of people who write business books, by which I mean not a book necessarily about business, but a book that you can use to build your own business whatever that is. So, you know, your business could be a self-development person, or you could be, you know, you could be working with big companies. But most of the people who write those books that we publish are not professional writers themselves. So they literally don't know where to start. They're total experts in their world, in their area, but they're not experts in writing 30 to 40,000 words about what they do. So I think there's an awful lot of books that stay in people's heads and never get out because they don't take the advice that they need to know where to start. And another really big mistake is to jump into the writing without planning first. So when I'm mentoring somebody through writing their book, it always starts with positioning your book to your market and then planning in massive detail so that before you start writing, you know where every single thing in your book is going to go, not just, you know, a few chapter headings, but, you know, real detail about what's going in each chapter, what different kinds of content, and then you start writing. And then the other thing is that a lot of people feel that writing a book is just a big kind of amorphous task with lots of odd things in it, like, you know, editing and proofreading and researching, and but actually it's not. It has a structure, and it's really important to take it step by step in the right order, because otherwise you just get really overwhelmed by the whole thing. And I think a lot of people stop when they get into the writing, because partly because they haven't planned and they don't know what's coming next, so they go, oh no, it's all too much, I can't do it. And then sometimes it's just because they don't know where to go next and how to finish it off.
I know for some of the people watching this who want to do more of the work that they love, and that might be around sustainability or sort of responsible business, and it's a big deal in the built environment. For people who don't feel like they're expert enough in those things, is there still the opportunity to write books if you're not the world's most knowledgeable person on everything?
Definitely, absolutely. So you are the world's most knowledgeable person on the bit that you do, but if there are other things you want to bring in, then go and interview other people who are the experts, and then you have to be strategic about that content. So don't just reproduce an interview with someone and hand over the authority, if you like, to them, but take what they've said and rewrite it in your own words, and use a few quotes from them, and obviously reference them and say where it's, you know, what that you've interviewed them. But there's other people that you can bring into your book to fill in your areas of knowledge, and you know, you can then put that out, and you're in charge of it. It's still your kind of authority piece. So yeah, involve other people who are more expert in certain areas than you, but make sure you stay in charge of the narrative of your book, like.
Fantastic. So hopefully people watching this are a little bit inspired now, thinking, okay, I've got something to say, I want to write a book. Where do they go? What's the first step to doing that? Do they need to book a week off and commit time to this?
I don't think that. I mean, I don't think it's the best idea to write a book in a huge hurry. I would say find an expert to work with. We'd be delighted to work with you at Rethink Press. We have a fantastic coaching team, and we run a group writing program called Book Builder, which is great because you're with you know, sort of 20 odd other people who are also experts, but not experts in writing their book. So we run this how to write your book in 90 days program, which is really, really supported and tells you and gives you everything you need to know. And I'm there to kind of keep you on track and tell you what to do next. So I think that's where to start. Don't try and do it on your own, because that's kind of a recipe for going wrong often, or for giving up halfway through. Work with experts, because it's worth the investment, because your book will go out there and build your business and tell the world about your thought leadership or what you want to do. So it's worth investing in writing and publishing a really good book.
I know that Daniel Priestley, who is one of the authors that writes with you at Rethink Press, one of the people that you publish, he talks about the most influential book in your life is not the book you read, it's the book you write. So hopefully people watching this will realize that there's a book inside them and they'll want to do this. And the idea of being able to do that in 90 days potentially makes it feel very real. Do people really achieve that?
Yes, they do. I wouldn't say that everybody necessarily finishes writing their book while they're on the program, but they have everything they need. And, you know, I will always stay with people until they finish writing their book, because that's what I want to see out of them. So, yes, you certainly can write your book in 90 days, or it might take you a few days longer or a few weeks longer, but you can absolutely write your book and get your book published in the next 9 months, say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lucy. It's been brilliant to have you here, and hopefully a whole wave of new people inspired to write their books. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.